Here we are. This is a special episode.
Yeah, it is.
As is every episode, but this is special because of several different reasons. I'm going to roll through them very quickly.
I'm excited.
One of them, we got a pumpkin on the stage.
The pumpkin has
On the
made an
stage?
appearance.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're going to
That's a
stand on
stage?
this. Anytime somebody wants to stand, anytime somebody wants to speak, bring your microphone and stand
It's
on the
a very
stage.
small stage.
I didn't buy this pumpkin from Jack's Planet Patio. I should have, because apparently all of their pumpkins are perfectly even on all sides.
Was that a plug?
I don't believe it.
Check 'em out.
Even? Dude, how much you get paid for saying that?
Absolutely, man.
I don't know. I'm not gonna
I'll
say.
let you know. It depends on sales. This is season 2, episode 13. This is the Thanksgiving episode.
Mm.
So
I'm
we're
already
gonna-
feeling thankful.
Yeah, I'm thankful. We're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about thankfulness. We're going to talk about traditions and whatever else we want to talk about. So if this is your first time watching, thank you for watching. Hopefully you make it longer than 2 minutes. Be sure to comment. Be sure to like, share it. And what's been happening over the last several weeks is lots more comments, lots more interaction, and we'll get into a lot of those comments
yeah.
today. We didn't know how passionate people were about terrible Thanksgiving food.
Yeah, man. It's a hot take.
It is a hot take. Before we get into that,
Joel did respond like 6 times, though.
did he?
Cranberry sauce. Cranberry sauce.
New Instagram accounts, your name rearranged,
Yeah, exactly.
Joel, J-L-E-O.
That's it.
Same profile picture.
How'd y'all figure that out?
But we do have a guest with us. Not a guest of Northwood by any means, but a guest of NC Unscripted. We got Pastor Mike. He is our Wiggins location
Padre
pastor.
Miguel.
Padre Miguel.
Miguel.
Just Miguel.
Hard U.
Padre
Miguel.
Oh, yeah, dude, that was on his freedom tag. I saw it in the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were
He said Padre Miguel.
there were several mics. There were several MIK
really?
mics in the room, and I just thought it'd be creative and be different.
That's
So,
perfect. We got people from like different faith backgrounds. They're like, oh, okay, Padre,
Oh,
okay,
for
Father, Father.
It's true.
We're gonna mess with Cardinal, Archbishop.
Archbishop.
Give us a little history lesson of you, of how Padre Miguel found himself in such a prestigious spot as the NC Unscripted couch.
oh wow, yes, I'm
Under a minute.
honored to be here, and I didn't really do anything. Just waited patiently for my turn. No.
He did slip a 20.
He came in here by accident. He was looking for another room.
I
was like, oh, this is
uh,
where we shoot.
I was actually looking for coffee, and I was checking around. Nobody had coffee. I walked in here, thought surely coffee, and
Yeah,
there's no coffee.
these
So,
are all props. Everybody acts like they have something
This
in their
is fake.
cup. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a prop. You got one? Yeah.
I feel bad because he even brought a cup.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. But
Yeah.
these are a special roasted Arabica bean. From
It's not how you say it. But okay.
from French coffee.
French coffee?
I did have my first cup of French coffee.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Jack's Planet Patio.
Jack's Planet
Did you
Patio.
buy a pumpkin too?
Yeah. What was the name of that coffee I
It
had?
was the Goldfinch latte.
Yeah. So I had the Gold French, and it was really good.
I like
really
it.
good. But I'm honored to be here. Thank y'all for inviting me to sit in. I'm not sure why I'm here, but I'm honored to be here. I do watch the podcast
Yeah.
every week. It's kind of a Tuesday morning, thing. I get up and always look for the latest episode to drop.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the podcast. Y'all are doing a great job, and I've enjoyed every guest
Yeah.
that's been on here. It's funny, but also I always get something out of it. It make you stop and think. So it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
That's probably the best part.
I think this episode will be similar. I think we're going to laugh a lot. And then I think there will be moments where like, wow, every time we have an episode together, it always seems like there's one or two moments that it's just like, this is a special moment, like for us in the room, but also as I'm watching them back and people are commenting on certain things like, well, the same moment that was in this living room setup right here translated, and it's on the screens or the phones of people that are watching also. So I think this will be that type of episode. Also, give us a little history, you, Northwood, but also give us a little history of family too. Like, let us know who Mike Menace is.
So, yep. Married to Angela. We've been married for 30 and a half years or so. Got 2 kids, Caleb and Mariah. I have a daughter-in-law, Brooke, and son-in-law, Rod. 2 grandkids, Andrea and Briah. And we've been at Northwood for Mariah was actually in Angela's womb when we came here the first time. So she's 28 now. So about 29 years, close to 29 years, we've been at Northwood. Right here in the building, we're shooting this podcast, and we fell in love. I mean, we knew God spoke to our hearts and said, "You're home," when we walked through the door, and immediately, made friends and joined a small group. And we were in Lee and Kathy Rogers' small group from day one. You know, and have loved it ever since. I mean, it's who I am.
Yeah.
I'm Northwood, member first. I know I'm a pastor here, but I'm a member first. And, I think I've watched all three of you guys grow up just about, not Joe, but you guys were, teenagers, with my son, Caleb, whenever we first came, and, or soon after, as you guys showed up.
Yeah. My parents' first small group was actually your guys' small group.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because so was your mom and dad.
Yeah.
And so Gary and Diana were in our small group. That's later. I know we don't talk about small groups later, but
We're good.
We worked in the kids ministry for several years. Loved that. Loved leading kids. Angela actually led worship a lot in the kids ministry, and we were in Building 4. It was fantastic. No. Building 3. We were in Building 3, and it was fantastic. Had a great time. Led small groups early on, and have ever since. But your mom and dad came into the church, and when they finally landed and all that, we met them immediately. Invited them to the small group. Your mom and dad as well, and man, just some good times we've met. And both y'all lived across the street from the church at the time, and we met in your mom and dad's house for years. Same thing in Long Beach with Mark and Becky, and love both those couples. They're just fabulous, and still do. Just my heart's big for those couples, and then the families. Watch the families grow up. Our kids, growing up, going to NCA right here in this building. I can remember this was like a first grade room, or maybe second grade. I think kindergarten and first grade were next door. Then maybe second through fifth were in this room, long room right here. And my kids, so both my kids went to NCA and through 8th grade, and right here in this room. And so it's pretty cool. So we've seen a lot. We of course are pastoring in Wiggins now, but we still can. It's one church, one big church, and we love Northwood. Love the people, love the leadership, love the staff, and the environments that we get to be a part of.
I think this is about a lot of people at our church, but seriously, our church is better because of you. It really is, your family. So I think this episode is going to be a lot of fun just to talk through, maybe even hear some of the older stories and some of because I mean you've been here for a long time now, so you've been able to see and watch and be part of shifts and the high moments and maybe low moments. I don't know, but we'll kind of get into that kind of stuff. But we're thankful for you. We really are. And thankful that we get to have this moment right here.
Absolutely. I do have one question.
Yes.
How many years ago was it that you stood up on the communion table that Jordan was talking about?
Yeah. So
did you see that clip?
Absolutely.
I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Well, unlike the way Pastor Jordan told it,
I love it.
Set the truth straight.
Yeah. So but it is true. And I did stand on the table. And it was a moment at the end of worship. It was exciting, and the table was right in front of the pulpit. And we were in the old lumber yard in Wiggins. We called it that, but our first location there before we built our building. So it was a rental building. It was fabulous, man, and people were excited, and that was a time too, if I'm not mistaken. That was before we joined. We joined ARC and started wearing jeans. I think that was a big transition in history of Northwood. Went from suits to jeans. So we were still back in suits. And
real church,
hyper charismatic. So and it is true. Many would have called us weird. Well, some do now too. But yeah. So into worship, it's exciting, and I was excited, but I was trying to drive home the point. I was passionate, and I just stepped up on it. There was nothing on the communion table. I didn't have to kick the elements off, right?
You didn't step on the body or the blood.
I did not step on the sacraments. No, but I just stepped up on there and made my point. But I didn't wobble. That's the whole thing. He thought maybe I was wobbling, and I think he was hoping I would fall. Expecting.
Anytime you see somebody step out like that, there's a part of you that's like, It would
Oh,
be
yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
It would be
Funny.
kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, over the years, you learn. I've been pastoring now for a long time.
Proper table stepping
No,
technique.
you learn don't do stupid stuff. And I think that was probably one of the greatest lessons that Pastor Van taught me as a young pastor was don't do stupid stuff. And but I don't step on tables anymore.
So I had the privilege of serving at our Wiggins location for a few years. And I remember a Sunday morning service that there was, I think it was a mouse. Do you by chance?
Yeah.
What?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I'm
I gotta
sitting-
hear about this.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
sitting,
You were
wherever-
there. So
Oh, yeah.
that's so cool. Cause I do remember that. I've told the story recently, actually.
Okay, tell the
But,
story because it's getting jumbled up in my head. I
Oh, yeah,
remember
yeah.
sitting where I was, and it was obviously your message was
Where
so
were you
convicting.
sitting?
If I'm looking at the stage, I was on the right hand side, kind of where you sit now in the auditorium. Okay, kind of in that area.
You were close.
I was close.
You were close.
He was preaching such a convicting message that from the back of the room, a mouse ran from the back of the room.
Yeah, I don't know that the message had anything to do with it, but there was a mouse that came in the auditorium. We didn't know it was a mouse, but all of a sudden on the left side from the stage, I started seeing a kind of a stirring in the crowd and in the far section.
Holy Ghost.
Touching
And,
Jesus.
Yes,
Touch
sir.
it,
Well, you know,
sir.
I mean,
Man, I'm
Raise
on
this hand
fire
out.
today.
I mean, this wasn't many years
Where's my
after.
communion
Let me
table?
step on that table.
It's like a wave of people. Do I need to blow in that direction?
Oh, I've been in. Uh-oh.
I took my jacket off and started.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't many years after Brownsville, and so you never know. But but no, stirring on the left side, and I could see people. And I just kept on preaching,
Yeah.
And but as it moved towards the front, and it was people were pulling their legs up, and screaming. It was a little, not very big, but mouse, and it ran under the chairs all the way through a section, and then it popped its head out right here on the front of the church there, and I saw it then, of course, and I'm like, I just don't get excited about it. I'm overly excited, but I'm like, oh look, a mouse, and it literally ran up the little steps to the stage, ran across the stage, and it exited out into the green room. Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's tremendous.
So I went to Walmart the next morning and bought some sticky traps and put them all over the building. Caught several actually. So yeah, in case you're watching this and you're wondering, they're gone.
They're
gone.
They're gone.
But,
It was a funny moment, but man, it's fun. So what we're going to do right now is we want to shift the episode around a little bit because we have said this is Thanksgiving edition, and we were curious about all of our scrubscriders. That's this week what we call the people that watch and listen to. There's been other names that have made it to the podcast and other names that have not made it to the podcast of what our audience is called. But we asked the question, and the question was really simple, was what is the worst Thanksgiving food? Now, we have not talked about the responses yet. So we're going to kind of, I don't know if it's a live reaction, what we're about to do, but we're going to start reading what some of these people say.
I'm excited.
Here's the question. Do we say their names?
I think we call them out. I think we have
Yeah,
to.
why
Are we
not?
all in favor of that, calling out whoever says this stuff?
I'll do it.
Yeah.
If it's
Why
a
not?
terrible take,
Okay.
if somebody says mac and cheese, absolutely call them out.
Okay, so we'll read the food first, and maybe we'll clump some of these together because we got a
Yeah.
lot of replies.
Yeah.
And if we don't agree with it, we'll say, this is who it was.
I like it.
Okay. All right. First one. This was the first response that we got. Said yams with marshmallows with the barfy emoji little thing. Yams with marshmallows. Are we in agreement with that? Worst Thanksgiving food.
Disagree. I love the was it sweet potato casserole? That's what it
Basically.
is.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't need them.
Yeah,
I
I
like it.
disagree.
If I
So
replied,
here's-
I would say that's the worst one.
That's the worst
Oh,
one.
no.
So
Worst one?
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. So some people, is it a dessert or is it part of your Thanksgiving plate?
That's a good point.
That's another separate discussion.
That's very
It's
true.
like sweet potatoes with the marshmallows and like the nuts on top of it.
That's another debate. Nuts or no
I
nuts?
haven't had the nuts.
I've never seen it with is it pecans?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Pecans.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I don't look very long because I don't eat that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. Whoa. Someone said the worst Thanksgiving food is pecan pie.
No,
Aw, come on.
They're stupid.
That's a better answer than the first one.
Really?
Yeah, pecan pie is terrible.
No,
I like
come on,
pecan
man.
pie.
You
I
have
don't
pie's
like
good.
pecan pie, but I can't throw it in the worst category.
no.
Do we want to reveal that person? Because I think that's going to get a lot of hate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Let's
Call 'em
reveal
out.
'em.
That's stupid.
Lexi Krause.
Oh my!
Lexi, come on.
I agree with you, Lexi.
All right.
Disagree.
I don't fully agree, but it is terrible.
What
I can
in
go
the
through there.
world is this, guys?
She
I wish
must
you could
be
see
from
this
the north.
tofu turkey.
Bro, I will punch somebody.
Yeah.
Okay,
If
so
I
they're
come
saying
to
this
your
is the worst.
Thanksgiving-
They're saying
Thanksgiving
this is
food.
the worst.
Are they from Portland?
That's not a real thing.
That's not Thanksgiving
That's
food.
not a real thing. That's not even worth addressing. Cut that out. Cut
Get
that out
the
of the
tofu
episode.
turkey, Jackie Perisic. What she said is bad though. I'm getting like, who even serves that?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I never
That's
even
not a.
seen that once.
I don't even consider that real
Yeah.
food.
One of our recent guests, Brandon Fetter, has
Okay.
a sub account called The Fetter. So we don't know if it's him or his wife that posts. But they said Thanksgiving food, the worst is all of it except for macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, he needs counseling.
My wife feels the same way. I think that was her
Yeah,
response.
she was pretty. Yeah, she was pretty
good.
spicy on there.
Yeah,
Okay. A lot of people said cranberry sauce.
absolutely.
That was
100%.
the number one on there.
Okay, cranberry sauce.
I like cranberry sauce because I like tart berries and stuff like that. But I understand why, because I mean it's really tart.
Yeah. Billy Stage said the worst Thanksgiving food is turkey.
Bro,
No.
you
had
just
some-
aren't cooking your turkey
You're
right.
not
Yeah.
putting enough butter in it.
You just have more butter. You
Butter
just don't
makes
know how to
everything.
cook a turkey, my man.
Dude, I do put an ungodly amount of butter in my when I'm lathering it
To
up.
consider ungodly. What amount do we have to get to? Gluttonous.
This is the whole tub.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a fun one.
Well, hold on.
Six
Hold on.
steaks.
Let's,
Go on.
let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about turkey.
Six
Okay,
Let's talk
yes.
about turkey.
Yeah.
We got Mike here, the grill master.
Ooh,
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
want to hear what is your perfect turkey? Thanks. I've seen you
Ooh.
smoke one. I've seen you
Yep.
spatchcock it a few times.
Yep.
Like, what is your go-to turkey method? Help Billy out so that this year he can experience a
Ooh.
good turkey.
Well, I don't know if I can help Billy. There may be something wrong with him, but the best turkey that I've ever made was a spatchcock turkey,
Okay.
and I don't know what the dynamic is that
Help me
makes
understand. I don't even know what that is.
So you cut the backbone out of the turkey, and so and then
Wow.
you flip it face down and smash it down, so it's cooking
Okay,
flat. So,
I've seen that before.
Yeah,
Then.
yeah. And so I'll do it. I bought a turkey yesterday to thaw, and that's how I'm going to cook it this year. And I'll cook it on the
Very
green egg,
nice.
Yeah.
so it has a natural smoke flavor. You know, it's not that fake. What is that? What is
Liquid
that
smoke.
pellet grill thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
The Traeger.
Going
Yeah.
after the
Traeger.
Traegers.
Yeah.
I
like
agree
that.
with dude. I
Doesn't
agree
have
with
that
you.
fake
I
smoke.
get
I'm with
it.
you too.
I get it.
I agree.
But
Team BGE. Okay, let's go.
so, but
Sponsor us.
but yeah. Now I used to I do brine my turkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least 24 hours, sometimes a little longer, and you know there's a variety of things in there. So it has juice for sure. You know the natural oils, but juice in. Yeah, no, I spatchcock it, any kind of seasoning on the outside, and the key I think with cooking turkey, and I used to cook turkeys too long.
Yeah.
And then you pull it and immediately it's good, but then it dries out
dry.
quick.
and it's no good
So
anymore. And
lean.
by the time it
There's
hits
like
the
no fat
table,
on that thing.
and maybe that's what Billy's experienced is just overcooked turkeys. But now, man, I probe it, cook it to the right temperature, and you pull it at the right time, let it rest. It's perfect.
So
juicy.
when are you pulling yours?
Well, I'm a little earlier than others, but 155 to 160 max. You
I
know,
agree.
155 because it's still cooking,
Yes.
and it'll hit 165, which is the USDA recommended
Yep.
temperature.
Mhm.
But not a lot over. And I think that's what I used to cook it well past that. 175, 185. Well, it's
Dry
going to be
turkey.
a dry
It's
turkey.
gone.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
true.
a Clark Griswold turkey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, break a
Good
piece off.
reference.
So, but no, turkey's good.
Turkey's great.
Turkey's good.
When
If
Yeah.
you
Cook
cook
it
it
right.
right. If
Yep.
it's dried out, I agree it's pretty terrible.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you just got to cook it right.
All right. So Billy, cook it right.
There you go,
Cook
buddy.
it right.
Cook it right. I'm going to read through a few of these, and
Okay.
if you if one upsets you, just get loud. Fruit salad with Cool Whip.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not a
nasty.
fan.
That is
I'm
nasty.
not the biggest fan.
Several more people said cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
Several more people.
So
let me-
and
let me s-
several people said turkey.
That's
They're-
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I don't
they're not thankful. That's all. But so what I enjoy, and I know that cranberry sauce is not. It's still controversial, but I like chicken and dumplings
Ooh.
for Thanksgiving. Now, not just any chicken and dumplings,
Yeah.
but what we would call at our family momos chicken and dumplings.
Mama's
And
chicken
then,
and
Yeah.
dumplings.
then if you take a big spoonful of cranberry sauce and put it kind of to the side, not on it, but side, and then just a little bit with it, it is different. It hits different.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great
Yeah,
way to mess
that's-
up some
yeah.
perfectly good chicken and
Aw, come
dumplings.
on.
Well, you put it on your plate just for color. You don't eat it. You don't.
take the picture.
It's the
and throw it away.
presentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Put the pumpkin on the plate. Pumpkin pie. What do you
Yeah.
guys think?
Nasty.
I like pumpkin pie.
It's so much better than pecan pie.
If
like
it has the whipped cream or Cool Whip?
Whipped cream.
Cool whip.
Cool Whip.
Nasty.
Some people
Also
said
put
pumpkin
an
pie
ungodly
is-
amount of Cool Whip.
Yeah, that's
Or
how pumpkin pie is
whipped cream.
good. You go with the Cool
If
Whip.
you don't,
I- So honestly, about pies, I'm a fan of crust. So the crust with the crust, mainly it's the back end of the pie.
I think it's
with-
called a shell.
Is it the shell?
Yeah.
I don't know.
shell crust.
Shell crust.
Yeah.
It's the last quarter of the pie is my favorite pie.
It's
that
a
right
circle.
there. So no, you gotta.
So you like it when 75% of the pie's eaten?
Yeah, so it's mainly the out ring where it has 25% left of the actual pie filling.
Yeah.
With like 70-20 or 80-20 pie crust to pie ratio.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's the best bite.
Okay. A lot of people don't like pie on here. They say it's the worst. I want to call this one out, though. One of our recent guests, the one that brought the man cat, the girl cat, whatever it was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan replied.
Mm.
And she said the worst Thanksgiving food is Spam pig in a blanket.
Never once had
Yeah.
spam pig in a blanket.
I don't
She's
think
not
that's
wrong.
Green bean casserole.
I like green bean
yeah.
casserole.
I
I
It
do
can
too.
be good.
also like a ton of French onion crispies on top.
Yeah.
I like that you went with a ton this time and not an ungodly,
Ungodly
amount.
amount. Yeah, a lot of people do not like cranberry sauce. And then Grace Mims, I'd like to call her out because she said any casserole is the worst.
Ooh.
Anybody want to like just go after her for a minute?
No, she's probably been. Yeah, she probably had some bad casserole, years ago, and
Rob,
Scarred
what you
for life.
cooking in there?
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah.
scarred for life. Yeah,
Oyster dressing?
Yeah.
I've had that.
What is that?
I don't.
I don't want that.
Hold on. What is that?
No, no, thank you.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
What
not
is
good.
it though?
Yeah, I'm still trying to. What is
You
it?
said it's not bad. What is it?
I don't really know. I just know I've had it.
Crushed up.
See, that's not
oysters?
anything
It's
I
just
ever want to
crushed
say
up
about my food. What's in it? I'm not sure,
Yeah, I'm not going to tell
but
you.
I've had it.
Yeah. As a kid growing up, was there ever foods that you couldn't eat because you pictured the animal that it was?
Absolutely not, man.
Never.
So
I'm not liberal at all.
Never.
I'm half Hispanic, and my mom started making tongue tacos, right? And
That's probably going to be clip art.
oh yeah, dude, it's very very good. It's called lengua, tacos de la lengua, or lengua
Say it
de
again.
tacos.
what language? Tacos with language.
Lengua is tongue, cow tongue, very tender part of the cow, and it is a cow tongue. They put it in the crock pot and you put all the
Ooh,
seasonings and
yeah.
stuff like that. But it just looks like a massive tongue. And whenever you're peeling off the taste buds,
Ooh.
it's a little interesting.
I can't.
Very
do it.
good though.
I can't do
Very
that.
good.
That's tough.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
tough.
just a
If you
giant
never
tongue.
saw it being prepped, you'd be totally fine. Or if you didn't know actually what it was.
If you didn't know, yeah.
Does it bother you now?
No,
Okay.
I ate it a month ago. Yep,
Yeah.
had some more tongue tacos.
Okay. A couple episodes ago, I talked about Rocky Mountain oysters,
Yeah, you
Mhm.
and
did.
it didn't make it to the podcast.
Mm-mm.
But that's one that that is the one that I can't eat. It didn't
Wow.
taste bad.
I'm not going to eat that either.
I think it did make it to the podcast.
Did it?
I saw it.
We didn't clip it. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
wasn't
yeah, yeah. It's definitely there.
Yeah, you're right.
I did have at one of our was it the Men and Boys campouts years ago. I remember we had one guy who's definitely from Socher. He
I know who you're talking about.
I do
he
too. I already
made,
know the story.
A raccoon,
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
armadillo,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
I tried it, and that was so disgusting.
It was
It was
tough.
slimy. The
Yeah,
meat
Yeah,
tasted
it was
slimy.
It was oily. Yeah.
he said it's gamey.
Yeah.
Gamey.
It's game. I think while he was wearing a coonskin hat.
yeah.
Is that the year he had a baby
Yes.
raccoon
Oh
on
yeah,
his
he
shoulder?
did.
And then you
He
were
said-
eating
He
raccoon?
He had it
This
in the
is his
cage.
mama.
He had one in the cage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another level. That's
Yeah.
another level. I think we've come to the conclusion nobody likes cranberry sauce.
Yep.
A lot of people don't like turkey. oyster dressing, pigs in a blanket made out of Spam.
I think a common thing is that most people can't cook, is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
It's like if you don't like turkey, that's
kind of weird.
that's a problem. Or green bean casserole. Like if you make it wrong, it's terrible. I think any food, if you cook it wrong, can be terrible food.
So I agree with you. Thanksgiving is totally different when people can cook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
It just is.
I agree.
And it'll depend to what you're raised on. I mean,
it's true.
my wife eats all of the food that everybody brings, and she loves it. Country cooking, you
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just I can't. I like certain foods. You know, I'll eat the turkey,
Yeah.
and I like the chicken and dumplings for sure. But I'm not eating the rhubarbs, and I'm not eating the. Is that how you say it?
Rhubarb? Yeah.
Rhubarb.
Yeah.
Rhubarb, rutabaga.
Oh, those are two very different things.
Those are two very
Either
different
one.
things.
I don't like R.
Yeah.
Okay, that morning, Thanksgiving morning, do you watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade?
Yes.
Never.
I watched a little bit of it.
I have to.
Never.
you?
It's fun.
I have to.
Wow.
It's tradition.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
But like my kids don't. Nobody watches it with me because they don't care about it. I get
Yeah.
excited. And then
It's more of a casual viewing. It's yeah.
Like-
Amber and I actually have a tradition. We actually go to Waffle House in the morning on Thanksgiving
Mm.
because we typically have Amber's family's Thanksgiving on a separate day because everyone's going to different places. So we
Yep.
actually already had our Thanksgiving the first Sunday of November, so a couple weeks ago. And then my mom's coming in town. She just came in last night, and we're having ours on that Saturday. So
Okay.
actually not on Thanksgiving. And this year, Amber and I's anniversary is on Thanksgiving Day.
that's fun.
Come on, girl. Let's go to Waffle House.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
Let me
anniversary.
treat you something
No,
real
we're
nice.
going to New
Exactly.
Orleans the previous night, so
Okay.
we're going to a good place.
All right, that's fun.
That's fun.
Here's a question we've gotten, but it totally goes in line with Thanksgiving. And we'll open it up. It might go into conversation. It might just be a quick answer. But here's the question. What is something that you're thankful for as an adult that you weren't necessarily thankful for when you were younger?
Yeah, I would say family. As a young person and a teenager, my goal was to get away from my family, and so any opportunity I had to get out of the house, you know, and get away from my family. And in hindsight, I wish, you know, I could go back and do it all over again. But now, as an adult, of course, I have great value in family, you know, and the time we get to spend together, and I'm big on experiences, you know, experiencing things together, and I get picked on a little bit because, you know, it may cost a little more or cost, you know, a certain amount of money to do something with family. But to me, you're not spending the money, you know, you're making a memory, or you're creating an experience together. But I really value family and having the opportunity to make memories together, you know, and I didn't as a young person.
Is that something that you're trying to teach or model for your kids or even your grandkids now? Or is it just it's something you're doing more for you now?
Probably more for me. It's probably selfish, probably, you know, making up for some regrets, you know, when I was younger. But, you know, I think in that, though, I am modeling it. And
Yeah.
hopefully they, you know, catch the value a lot sooner than I did.
Yeah.
You know?
The fact that my mom was an excellent cook and she cooked consistently almost every night, I took that for granted for sure. When I was younger, I was like, man, when I grew up, I was like, man, she cooked almost every single night, had a great meal for us. And it was just like, it was very consistent.
Yeah.
And when I got older, I started we were just having casual conversations with just other people, and other people would be like, no, my mom didn't cook that much, or it was like only like twice a night or something like that. I'm like, man, my mom was hustling in that kitchen. It was really good.
Yeah.
It's true. I'd say for me, kind of piggybacking off of that, was that my parents taught me how to cook, or like made us
Mhm.
involved in that. Like, funny story, I remember my dad used to make me like grill steaks. Like I was going to learn how to grill. And if you burn the steak, like I had to eat the worst one. It's like, no, you overcooked it. It's like, here you go. Be better next time.
Dude, that's
And it was like,
awesome.
it was a funny joke. Like, it was like, yeah, sorry, that's the one that's burnt. Like, it just happened. That's the one you got. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna cook them all better next time. And now I thoroughly enjoy grilling,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm pretty good at it because I had to suffer through a
Yeah.
lot of really bad
Mhm.
cooking first.
So are you thankful for the experience of learning that? Or like what were those moments like? Was your dad standing beside you saying, this is how you do it? Or
Nope.
was it go figure this thing
Nope.
out?
It's like, go grill the steaks. Okay, cool.
That's when you
Here I
learn
go.
you don't like a well done steak.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you know. It's like, oh man, a little too much char on this
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the first time he showed like, yeah, this is how you do it, just rough, like a really quick watch me do it. And then the next time it's like, all right, there you go, you're up.
Yeah.
I'll be inside watching football. Like, cool.
That was really the play right there. It's
Absolutely.
like, I'm gonna-
Absolutely, dude. I see it now in hindsight. I see it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do the same thing with Isaac. Like, yeah, bro, here you go. Good luck.
Has he cooked one yet?
No, absolutely
Oh,
not.
okay. I was like, that's
Absolutely
amazing.
not. No.
Steaks are too expensive now. I'm like,
Yeah, can't mess
Man.
that up.
yeah, hey, yeah, I'd
Give him a
love for you to
chopstick
do
first.
it. But watch me.
Yeah, exactly.
Give him a burger.
I'm doing the whole John Maxwell principle. It's, hey, you watch me as I do it, and then we'll do it together. But I'm still on the, hey, you watch me.
Yeah.
You watch me.
Yeah.
This is too expensive. This is too expensive. I'd probably fall in similar categories to what you guys said. It'd be around family. It'd be around the moments. I
Mhm.
think I'm more thankful today for the little moments, the ones that are almost insignificant when you just see it at first glance. It is the times you sit down for dinner at the table together. It's the random evening that you find all of your family just sitting there watching a show together. As my kids are getting older, and it's happening so fast, I'm realizing these moments are just distant.
Yeah.
Like they're hardly there anymore. Emma, she's 17, but just the way schooling is set up, she'll be at a university in a year and a half, 2 years. So she's the one saying things like, Dad, like this is like we only got like 2 more of these the way they are. I'm like,
Go to your room.
that's I'm grounding you for the next 2 years.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
but it's those moments that I'm like, man, it does fly, and there's the potential to have a lot of regret.
Yeah.
Like I'm already fighting, and we were in message prep this last week, and we were in there. Pastor Van, who was in this meeting too, and he was just talking about life. It was an incredible message prep meeting, but he said he almost gave us permission to be okay with what's happened so far. It's like, of course you're going to have regrets. He said something to the effect of, if you don't have regrets, you probably didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
But taking that into family and just even the holiday season, because getting into the holidays, you're going to be around people, and sometimes people that you haven't been around a lot, and
Mhm.
there's friction,
Yeah.
there's uniqueness to relationship, but man, enjoying the moments together. With you being the guest, and even with some of your responsibilities, yeah, but with your skill set, something you've always been really good at is this idea of community or making people feel connected. I mean, we started this episode with you talking about people that have been in your groups, and you're talking about just all these people. You oversee small groups at our church, which is really a massive community arm of our church. When we talk about small groups or community, I'm curious if you see a great need in people just in general, or if you see not as big of a need. Like when I say community around people and our church, how do you think we're doing, but how do you think people are doing in being part of this community, or does it even matter?
Yeah, I do think that 2023 is different than it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and going on back. I think that community it seemed to be easier to do years ago than it is now, and I do respect that people are probably busier, or at least they think they're busier now than ever before, and for sure. I think that people are more distracted now than ever before, and there's opportunities to be distracted more now. And so it can certainly replace this idea that I need to have relationships. It can be an excuse for not having relationships.
Mhm.
But as far as the need for it, it is as great now as ever before. Actually, I think it's greater now. I have been really being very aware of the people in my life and the people that I've been meeting recently through the church and just even in the community. And I'm convinced, and I say this, it's kind of a funny thing to say, but I'm very serious about it. I'm convinced that everybody has a little bit of a mental health issue. I really do think that. Everybody has some damage, or they've got some issues, and so with that, it just even emphasizes more the need for people to be in relationships with other people, and to be exposed to that hey, we're all a little off. We're all we're all. I use the term a lot. Just try to be nice, but we're all knuckleheads.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we all a little mental. We've got issues. We all got issues. And so with that, to be exposed to other people and to have the opportunity to live in community with people and get to know other people and see other people. Okay, it's not just me.
Yeah.
It's everybody. And so it normalizes things. So I think community is great. And there's a greater need for community now than ever before. And so I do think we do a good job at Northwood. We can always do better. I get the privilege of serving the pastors at each of our locations as they kind of oversee their groups, and we work together to create environments for people to be able to connect. And I think we do a good job. We're always working on that though and tweaking it. How can we do better? Because we do realize that people need community. Well, God designed us to have community. The Bible tells us, even in Genesis, that it says when God created man, it wasn't long that He said it's not good for man to be alone. And we use that. I use it in weddings. Speaking of God creating a helpmate, but it's a deeper thing that we're all created with this need for community, for relationships, and all through the Bible. We see it over and over again where God, He takes the solitary and puts them in a family. He instructed the early church to meet in community, to meet in the homes, to break bread together, and to walk as a Christian, to do the Christian life together. And I see that, of course, the wisdom in that, because we do sometimes think that we're failing, and we probably are.
Yeah.
But everybody is,
Yeah.
to some degree. But we think it's just us. We think we're failing. And anytime you think you're failing, then you think less of yourself, and you begin this nosedive, and it takes people down deep into a hole where they're isolated, and which is one of the tactics of the enemy, isolation. Just trying to get people alone. I talk to people all the time that their life consists of being isolated. They've been in it long enough, just being beat down, both by the enemy, the devil, but also by themselves. And they just are in a hole. And so they pop their head out and they pretend to be to walk the Christian life, or they pretend to be something that they're not. But really they're lonely, they're isolated. And that's just where the enemy wants them to be. And so for us as a church, if we can create communities for people to connect to find relationships with people. And again, I think back, Mark and Becky were some of our best friends, and Gary and Diana over the years, Lee and Kathy, and Mikey and Frankie Krause. There's so many names of people that we met in small groups. And James and Lola Hernandez, y'all all know James and Lola, and they when they moved from California, they were friends of your mom and dad. And I'm sure there's a bigger story, but your mom and dad invited them to our group, and they stuck, and we lifelong friends now. Just love them to be. We don't see them as much now, but you have a common union, a commonality there, and
so community. Like, you keep saying that word, and I even think as people watch this, and as I'm listening, I'm like, well, yeah, like I want that. And a lot of people have community, but then there's a lot of people. You mentioned the isolated, and I think a lot of people get isolated by choice, and the choice is because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want people to hurt me. Or there's a whole nother group of people that it's a difficult group to even talk with. Is in the holiday season. They don't look forward to this season at all because they don't have community. Or I'm thinking about like military. Like, I have to stay here, and like I don't look forward to this season at all. How would you help someone or help them connect in some way to something that they don't have, that they really want, but it's not there for them?
Well, and I think everybody has an excuse, Micah. You mentioned a couple there, but I think every one of us have an excuse.
Yeah.
So it's not fair to me to categorize people like that. I think we all need it. So it doesn't matter your excuse. We all need it, and it takes work. There's a as I get older, there's a phrase that I say more. It's a biblical concept taken from the life of David, but I know that anything worth anything costs me something. There has to be a sacrifice. There has to be an investment. Or I mean, you know, I can do a lot of things, but if it doesn't cost me something, then is it worth it? You know, and so relationships cost us something, but they're worth it.
Yeah.
And so I can make an excuse. Everybody has an excuse. You know, I mean, in our church, I know I encourage people all the time to be a part of groups, and I, you know, I love these people. It's not a dig, but you know, a lot of people resist, and they have excuses. You know, some of them are valid excuses, at least to them, but they're missing the value, and it will cost something. So when we realize that and we get past that, it in me, I love people, but sometimes I like to be alone. You know, I mean, and I'm, you know, I'm one of those guys too. You talk about Thanksgiving and the holiday season in general. If you had my kids here, they would probably tell the truth on me, but I'm not the best at being around people in the holidays. There's just something about me, you know. So I got my own. I'm a knucklehead too. I got my own issues, but I work at it, and I force myself sometimes. But I think for so many people, being in a relationship is more transactional. In other words, it's like a box that they check. Okay, I got to do this, you know, and they go and they, you know, go through the motions, but there's no real relationship there. But when we get to a place where we realize that, no, this is a God thing. This isn't just a societal thing. This isn't just a church thing. You know, this is a God thing, and I need. Try that again. And I need it. I need it. Mike needs it. I need people in my life. Not a lot of people, but I need enough people. I need people in my life to where it can become a transformational thing, to where God can do his thing with those relationships. And so I can, you know, invest in other people, but they're investing in me, and it's a God dynamic. It's something it's beautiful, really. You know, and it's helpful for us. And if we don't see it as that, if we don't see it as it's a God thing and a transformational thing, then we'll keep up walls. We'll go through the motions, and it becomes stale and old, and we quit. We don't want to do it anymore. We just retreat to our isolation.
Yeah. I think it's a combination where some people have walls up and just like no community. But I think it goes back to what you said earlier. A lot of people are just walking around distracted. Like they don't even know that they're isolated because social media and whatever else is out there. You're just going from one thing to the next, and then you look up and you're like, wait, I'm all alone. And so until you have that moment where you can identify, I think kind of what you said, you got to call yourself out on it and be like, oh no, I need to make time for friends. It's like so many times we're like, nobody wants to be friends with me. It's like, you probably do. You're probably not giving anybody the opportunities to be your friend. And like, nobody can fix that except for you. So until you have that moment, it's really tough for people to get in. And not necessarily because there's a wall. It's just because you're ignorant or distracted to the facts.
Well, one of the things that I've observed, and I feel like I've learned, at least this is my personal perspective, is that everybody has issues, right? So we have these issues, and the help for the issue is if I can get in relationships and I can flesh it out, you know, and I can see that I'm not alone. I can see, and then there's actually, I use the word transformational, but there is a transformation in me, but I don't do that. And so what I do is I walk in pain because my issues hurt me. They're plaguing me, and they're, you know, and that's every individual. And so I don't like the pain, and so I numb myself with the distractions. You know what? Social media is a great numbing agent. It's it's mindless. I can zone out, you know, from reality, and it's, I do it. Everybody does it, you know, to some degree. But some people, it's the thing that they escape into, and they live vicariously through these Instagram posts and things like that, you know, which I'm not knocking them for that, because I get it. It's an escape. But it's not transformational. Like God intended.
All it does is make you feel worse about the things you're already. All it does is amplify your pain. It's like if you're a parent and you see these other parents like killing it on social media, you already have this thing in the back of your mind, like, I talked to my kid the wrong way, or I should be doing this better. And then you see the clip of somebody doing that thing that you just identified you should do better. And then it just puts you further down the hole. If you go out with other parents, you're like, oh no, being a parent of a 3-year-old is hard for you too. Like, oh, okay, cool. It's not just me. Like this is okay. We're all messed up, but it's okay.
It's true.
I think Go on.
I was gonna say, kind of piggyback off of Joel. Not gonna lie, sometimes when me and Amber are in the store with Rayma, and we hear and see another parent struggling, like kids crying or something like that, we're hopeful. We're like, oh man, like it's okay. Like they're struggling as well.
Oh, dude.
It's like, dude, it does something with Amber. She's like, man, she feels like a failure if like Rayma's not acting right in the store or something like that, and she's crying in front of people and she's having to correct her or something like that. But whenever we see other parents like also struggling, it's helpful.
Yeah, I always try to shoot that parent like a smile, or like be like, "Hey, like you're okay, bro."
Yeah.
Like my kids do that too. Like,
Yeah.
you're good. Today it's your kid. Tomorrow it'll be my kid. Like,
Exactly.
Sometimes
good.
you pinch your kid right when that happens to get them crying too. Just to
Yeah,
make
exactly.
sure. Whack.
But that's the importance of being in a community, especially as
Absolutely.
Christians. I mean, man, you're surrounded, and we just finished up our last group last night, and it took time to develop these relationships.
Yeah.
So meeting every single week, it takes time, especially for guys. Guys are a little bit more bottled up than ladies are. Me and Amber kind of separate at the guys and girls, and her girls usually just open up immediately.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful in their perspective. For some of the guys, it took honestly about halfway through the semester where everyone started sharing a little bit more about some of their struggles or some of the things that they're kind of dealing with, or maybe have deeper questions about. And you only get that through concentrated community.
Yeah.
And the group's atmosphere is just a perfect landing spot for that. It's not, we don't want you just to sign up just so we can have inflated numbers. No, there's health in those groups that take place.
Yeah.
And it takes some time. So
Yeah.
be willing to, don't just drop out in that second week. Like, keep going.
Yeah.
It's
Keep
good
going.
for you, but it's also good for me. Like,
Yeah,
I
100%.
need you in this group for me, not just your health,
Yeah.
but
And I think that's a whole nother dynamic, Joel, that people don't realize, because we are introspective and we're very selfish. Everybody's so selfish, but the groups, communities that are built, it's not just about me. It's not just what I get out of it. And I think, again, going back to the word transactional, if I have a transactional mindset, it's what am I getting out of this?
Yeah.
And so, man, I don't really need small group. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need, so it's so self-centered. But then when we realize that we are of value to others, and so we go to group, and all of a sudden, we say something like, I was doing this the other day, or with my kids or whatever. And then other people are like, oh, I needed to hear that, and so we're actually adding value to other people. Yeah. And we don't see that often. They don't tell us, give us that response and that feedback. And so we don't think we're worth anything. So why would I go? I mean, I'm just, I'm tired, again, excuses. Yeah. But when we realize that we've added value to others, now it becomes transformational. It's helpful to other people. So, and ourselves.
I was talking to a military guy yesterday, and we were meeting, and just, he was expressing his need for community, his deep desire for community. And, after talking about community is so available to you, we got to the spot where the most difficult spot for community for him, or to engage in community, is the first step. Because the first step is where, until he takes that first step, his anxiety is just at an all-time high. He was talking about, no, when I actually get into the church, everything's fine. Like, as soon as I step in, he said, everything's fine. He said, it's from my residence until I step into the church. And he said, that's just what his life is like, is from there to there. The moment you get in there, you're so thankful. And I can't say how many times that's happened with me. It's like, I don't really want to go. And there's been times I've just straight up made excuses. You were talking about everybody has excuses. Oh, yeah. I think one of the greatest excuses that you have in your young adulthood life or young marriage is kids.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, kids are an easy excuse. And what I mean by that is, I can always manufacture a sickness in my kid. Yeah. Oh, hey, but was that a runny nose? Okay, hey, perfect. And like, you look and you're like, high five to everybody, sit down, pajamas, that kind of thing. And that might be a little fabricated, but the truth is, it's probably not at all. But what happens is, your family becomes such your community, which is good until it's not good.
Yeah. And
then all these other families are their own little communities, which again is good. But we all need each other. I was listening to you, like, we all need each other. Our families, our kids need each other. And I was talking with some people just recently, and we were talking about our kids. And we were talking about the kids and the families that we were growing up with. Like, we all had kids at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, we were heartbroken because our kids are growing up not knowing those kids because community was broken for a variety of
Mhm.
reasons. And like friendships just are no longer there. And like our kids that literally could have been, 3 generations deep
Mm-hmm.
just aren't there. And some of the richness and the beauty of what could have been, you talk about regrets,
Mm-hmm.
just never even had an opportunity to do that. But sometimes it's simply because the first step was never taken.
I think that we are very short term minded, or we are short sighted, and so we're always thinking about now and how I feel right
Yeah.
now, and because of that we don't see down the road and see the value of some of the investments and what it would cost us.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me something now, but look at down the road. Look at the relationships that are built, the value of that, the long term. I do love watching Micah and Jordan. Micah and Jordan have been best friends for a long time, since they were young teenagers and since y'all came.
15. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I love
25
hearing
years.
your stories. There's so much value in that, just to see the richness of your relationship and the things you've been through, the good and the bad, because y'all hasn't always been rosy, right? I mean, you've had
Mhm.
some arguments and some things like that, but to see your relationship now and the value of the relationship now, it cost you something then, but probably you didn't think that way. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
we're just friends. You weren't like planning this, but
Yeah.
look at what it's produced now.
Yeah.
And it's not over, right? I mean, there's many more memories to make, but I love seeing relationships like that. And some of the relationships I have, I mean, I can pick many names, but Arnie Williams, who is him and his family are in the Wiggins location. When he drove, he tells the story when he drove into the parking lot, checking the church out. They hadn't even visited yet. He was making a loop through the parking lot, and he ran into my wife, and she was walking through the parking lot. We were leading the kids ministry, and she talked to him about the church, said some things, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, we got to come here." And it wasn't one or two visits later. They were in our home in small groups, and we've literally been running together now for for almost 25 years, and we still hang out. We'll be sitting having coffee in downtown Wiggins, or even at church. We're having conversations, and it's like, this is a rich relationship. We got so much history together,
Mhm.
and been through so much together, and I love seeing that, but we don't think of that when we're just meeting somebody, when we're going to small groups. Some of the relationships that are being formed in the young adult small group,
Mhm.
those are lifelong relationships.
Mhm.
But nobody thinks about that.
Nope.
All they think about is today. How do I feel today? Right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's fun.
What a great exercise to look at the people that are immediately around you and think, why am I thankful for? What's something I can be thankful for
Yeah.
Mhm.
in them?
Yeah.
And it causes you to look at them differently. And seriously, this can get clipped. I don't care. But I'm sitting here thinking how unique this is right here, just for me.
Yeah.
Like, Brent, you came back into the church at a time where I was questioning if I was even effective ever as a student minister.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally like, nothing mattered. Everybody's gone. And you were the first time I saw somebody that grew up in a church step away for a season and then come back.
Yeah.
And literally through your life and through your return, God said, youth ministry is a long-term investment.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. And literally, you were one of the reasons that I stepped back into student ministry and said, the harvest is still ripe.
Yep.
Like, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I sat with you. You taught me how to be a pastor. You pastored me. You had hard conversations with me, sitting underneath your leadership. You had hard conversations. You confronted me. You challenged me as a dad, as a husband. You said, but you taught me how to love people. And there's no way the people in Long Beach would be pastored the way that they're being pastored right now. With it's not the method, it's the heart.
Yeah.
You taught me how to love people. Of course, Christ did, but you modeled that, and you took me under your wing, dude. I was a young pastor that really didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that if I just kind of ran the same play and did it my own way, there was always room for me at your table. And I'm like, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that over 10 years ago,
Crazy.
dude, over 10 years ago, it's November right now. We were running launch meetings for a church that we were going to launch in 9 months from then.
Yeah.
And you were there. Dude, I'm thankful that you and Christy said, let us take your 3 kids for a night.
Yeah.
Let us watch them. Dude, I saw a memory pop up on that. Like, I'm thankful for the hardships, but I'm thankful. Dude, 3 of my major points last night at an all leadership meeting were from you.
Yeah.
They were. And I mean, I said it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the leader I am because of the people around me. And I'm just wondering if people that were watching this, man, God, if we just looked at our world and thought, why am I so thankful? Or what can I be thankful? Maybe that's a good way to say it. It's so easy to say what I'm not thankful for, or what makes me mad or frustrated about this person, this church, this group, this family member. But what happens when we say, man, I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful that season in my life where they were with me, that we were together. And I think it changes holidays.
I agree. And I think just for the military people out there, like, you don't have to be in proximity locationally long term for that to happen. Like, we have the pleasure now where, like, we're all together. Think about you and Arnie and you and Jordan, and I can hear the voice of, like, yeah, well, I'm going to be gone in 4 years or whatever. It's like, bro, I moved when I was a kid, I think every 3 or 4 years, just as a pastor's kid. And that really did a lot to me, where I shut down from making friends. I was like, what's the point? I'm going to be gone in 3 years. So I know what that feels like. But some of my closest friends today are, like, in Atlanta or in Phoenix. And we're like, it doesn't change the family dynamic. We're still family. We're still friends. Yeah, we don't see each other at Thanksgiving, or I can't remember. It's 3 years ago last time I saw my buddy in Atlanta. We're still friends. Like, it doesn't change that, but you have to make the choice to still be friends through that. And if you use that as your excuse, like, that's never going to go away. That excuse is, because of the reality of military, that's going to be there. So it's like, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. Are you going to let that be the thing that keeps you in pain, or are you going to choose to deal with that problem?
Yeah, we have a guy in he's 1920. Nolan, he's from Virginia, young military guy in the Air Force, and he by himself decided to show up to Northwood, and he's here for training. He's only here for 6 months, and he happened to connect with Jeff Moore. Jeff Moore saw him in the crowd. He's like, man, he says, there's this young guy. He says, my son was in the military. I'm proud for this young guy to even show up in a church. He said he immediately connected me, and we got connected, exchanging numbers, and he started showing up to group. And dude, he's been in our group this whole semester. And last night he told me, he said, man, he says, I'm really glad we have Friendsgiving on Saturday. He's like, I'm really glad we're doing this. He says, because I can't go back home. He says, I'm going to be here for the next week. And he says, I can't go back home. I'm going to miss everything. He says, I'm just glad we're doing something. And
awesome.
He's only here for 6 months, and he decided to dive in, and, you know, and now in 3 weeks, he's actually going up to North Dakota, and we all said we're going to keep a text thread going. Yeah. We're going to check up on him and make sure he's doing well up there and stuff like that. So it's like, man, if you're young and in the military, man, there's a community here that's willing to graft you in.
I think
absolutely.
That's awesome.
And like, you're going to experience pain either way. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be painful when you leave, because you're leaving your friends. Yeah. Hopefully it's not painful the whole time because you rejected friends. Like, dude, cry when you leave, bro. Like, let's all be in pain when you leave a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's a much better alternative.
Yeah.
That's good.
I love that. There is another group of people. We've talked a lot about young people. There's a whole other group of people that I think's got incredible community in this local church, and that's the elderly. Yeah. Dude, I love seeing in all of our locations groups of people who have aged either together or just some. It's amazing the amount of visitors that come that are elderly, and there's community for them too. Yeah. To be honest, I think that's one of my favorite things about our church
100%.
Is that when you look at our church, we're really hard to figure out who we are. Yeah. It's like, are you a young church? You an old church? Oh,
yes.
We're 50 years old. Yes. But we do have a location that's 2 years old also. Like, are you a white church? Are you a black church?
Yes.
Are you a wealthy church or a poor church?
Yes.
And we're thankful for it all. We're thankful for it all.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think this has been a great episode, and we're thankful for you hanging on and watching this. But I think it'd be fun if you made it all the way through this episode to maybe just in comments
Absolutely.
write something or someone that you're thankful. If you have the ability to tag them, man, do that. It's an exercise to practice Thanksgiving, and we're going to take a week off, so it'll be a little break in episodes. But we're thankful for all of our Rough Riders, our subscribers.
It's true.
Scrubscriders.
Later.